Hello everybody, my name's Chef Robert. I'm down at the Elderberry house in Oakhurst, California, and we're going over preparing some of the staple items you might have in your storage or pantry during these times. So we're going over white rice, we're going over brown rice and vegetable stocks and a couple things that just might help add to your kitchen repertoire at home. So today we're going to go over brown rice. I have a little mixture right here that is a little bit of Anson Mills farro, I have a little bit of Anson Mills brown rice, and a little bit of forbidden rice. Now, when you're cooking white rice, it's 2-to-1 every time. When you're cooking brown rice, it can vary between the grains. So if you have one grain like a brown rice, it's going to cook even throughout. Now, because I have the farro and the forbidden rice, I have 3 different cooking stages. So what you want to do is just cook the one that takes the longest to your intended point of cook. So in this case, the farro is probably going to be the longest cook in our little mixture here. Forbidden rice will be second, and the brown rice will definitely cook the first. But always try to meet a medium between your rices. That's very important when you have a mix, even a mix of blend. If you have like a couscous rice and quinoa blend, you're going to have a lot of different cook times. You just have to find that equal medium between all of them. Just make sure that you don't have any crunch or bite in any of the grains. So today we have this little mixture. Now with the brown rice mixture, I like to start off with a little bit of vegetables. We've heated the pan, a medium-sized saucepan. Always make sure you have a good amount of space. You can never have too big of a pot. I mean, you can, but try to proportion it as equally as you can. So we're going to start off with some vegetables. I have a red onion right here. Now with vegetables going into a rice or a stew or anything like that, you want to cut to a large size so it's easy to remove from the ingredient. If I did a small dice, got to the end product and I had to pick out all the pieces of onion, it'd be kind of bothersome. So we have full pieces like that. I just place them face down in the pan. Carrots the same. I have one whole carrot that I've cut into large pieces so it'll be easier to take out at the end. And I'm going to add these in there. Celery, same. So the balance of your mirepoix is very important too. So we have the sweetness of the onion, we have sweetness of the carrot, we have a little bitterness from the celery as well. The last one we're doing, which is just my favorite in any kind of braising or liquid, is bell pepper. I'm a Southwest kind of boy, bell peppers reign supreme there. So I put a few of those in there as well. Get a little caramelization. You're just looking for a tad bit of caramelization, but you're trying to develop all the acidities and starches to kind of bring out that sweet sugarness or that wholesome flavor that you want from the vegetables. So we'll just do a little bit of seasoning here. I'm going to grab a little salt. So with every dish, with every time you're cooking, you want to gradually season as you cook through this. So the first stage is our vegetables. We're just going to give them a little bit of salt. You're not intending to salt all the way through the process, but you definitely want to put a little bit of seasoning so everything's got some. I'm going to put 1 garlic in here. And then I'm going to put the thyme in right now because if I add the thyme, it's going to break down a little bit, but it's also going to bloom in this cooking process where all the flavors are going to combine together. So we're going to stir these in, get a little caramelization. More caramelization, more sweetness. Less caramelization, more vegetable flavor you're going to get. So we're just going to saute these a little bit. Now, I'm going to add my rice. Again, this is a mixture of 3. We're going to lay this over that. This is another part that's very important. You need to open up your grains. You need to saute them so they kind of develop. Just like popcorn. The reason why popcorn pops is because the inside of the kernel has melted to the point where the starch is liquefied, and as soon as it hits air, it pops and solidifies with the oxygen. Well, seeds, grains, rices are all the same. They have that liquid center that you can develop. Well, it's not liquid, it'll turn liquid, but So you want to saute this so the inside of the rice develops, sort of like a risotto. If anybody's cooked a risotto, you've kind of toasted at the beginning to kind of open up the rice and let it kind of absorb the water, do a few things. So we're just going to lightly saute this. You can go slow and low. For demonstrational purposes, we're just going to call it good now, but you can take this as far as you want. Just don't put any color on the rice because A, it'll develop flavor, and B, it'll kind of seal it on one side as well. So now that we have our rice in there, just a pinch of salt because we like to layer it as we cook through the process. And then vegetable stock. We will have a video for vegetable stock coming up. We're just going to add 2 quarts of this. So with this mixture, we're going to go 4-to-1 on our ratio. So we have 4 parts liquid to 1 part rice. Now we have our vegetables in there, we have our herb, we have our garlic, we have a little bit of salt. We're just going to put this on like a high simmer. You want it to boil a little bit, but you don't want it to reduce the liquid. So if you have violence in your water and all that steam's coming out of there, your moisture, your flavor, everything's coming out of there. So what you want to do is a nice simmer with the cover on top of it so everything stays inside of there and that rice gets all the flavor and moisture that you want, or that you provided in the recipe. Alright, so we're going to turn this on a medium simmer and we'll let this go for a while. Alright, back to the brown rice, our little rice mixture that we're cooking. So we went ahead and sauteed our vegetables, we added our rice, we added our liquid, seasoning through the process, and now we have our cooked rice. So you can see all the vegetables are in there. We've got the rice nice and cooked. Again, you don't be afraid to kind of try. Get in there. Make sure that all the bite's gone. There's no crunchiness. There's no mixture of textures. You kind of want to find that equal medium like we were talking about earlier. So now, since I don't get to use these right now, since we're all locked down and doing to-go food, I'm going to use my tweezers to just remove all the vegetables. This can take some time, but it's very important to do it right. We're just going to get all of these out of here. And this is why we cut the vegetables large, because if you had a small dice or a mixture, it just is very, very hard to get everything out of there. So we're going to place a little pan down. And get that nice and medium hot. Now you can do this 2 different ways. You can do it like a peel off and small dice a little onion, some celery, some carrot, really, really small dice. In our kitchen we do it to match the size of the grain normally, so there's a little bit of equal texture. And basically you can saute that off and then add your rice into it later, creating a peel off. Or you can do the traditional just brown rice and just a little bit of butter, a little bit of stock, and just kind of heat it up. So today's purposes, we're going to do that. So we're going to take a little bit of butter, place it in the pan, and then we'll take some of our rice mixture. There will be a little bit of moisture at the bottom. That's fine. Basically, you want to treat this almost like a pasta more than a rice. You just want to cook it and simmer it and braise it until it's nice and tender. So butter's there, nice and melted. We're just going to add this in here. And a good bit, too. Making sure that all the vegetables are out. If you have any bell peppers that want to sneak in there, go ahead and take them out. And again, I would go through the entire batch before I started this process. And then we'll just do a little saute. If you need a little liquid and you have a little bit left in the pan, you can add that as well too, just to intensify that rice flavor. A little bit of additional seasoning. In fact, next week, we're going to have beef dish with a little bit of mole. We're going to do a Spanish rice version of this, so it's going to have a little bit of pimenton, some spicing, a little bit of cumin to kind of make it more Spanish or Latin style. But this is our multi-grain brown rice. I hope everybody enjoyed making this, and if you're hungry, come and visit us. We're doing to-go food so you can order from 9 to 6 o'clock, 7 days a week, and now you can pick up from 2 to 7 days a week at Erna's Elderberry House in Oakhurst, California. Thanks for joining me. See you for the next recipe.